very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1 live and direct from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. Bringing you the news, I'm Jadardin.
And I'm Chalani Ratnavira. Let's take a look at your headlines for tonight.
The headlines on Newsfirst.
Gota's ex-personal secretary arrested and remanded over double salary allegations. Court postpones hearing on Gota's petition seeking protection from arrest until the 24th of June. Complaint to court over issues in CID probe on Sirasa, says Minister Nalinda. US and Iran sign initial deal to end war, ease sanctions and open strait as nuclear talks continue.
Former President Gota Rajapaksa's former personal secretary Yoshitha, who was arrested on suspicion of criminal misappropriation of funds under the presidential expenditure head, was today ordered to be remanded until the 1st of July by the Colombo Fort Magistrates Court.
He was arrested by officers of the Central Crimes Investigation Bureau this morning.
Sugishwara Lenin Bandara, the former private secretary to former President Gota Rajapaksa, was arrested by the investigating officers of the Central Crimes Investigation Bureau this morning in the Kollupitia area. The suspect was produced before the Colombo Fort Magistrate Pasan Amarasena at around 5:20 p.m. today. Producing the suspect in court, the investigating officers informed court that the suspect had drawn salaries and allowances allocated under the presidential budget while serving as the private secretary and special projects director to retired President Gota Rajapaksa from the 14th of July 2022 to the 21st of December 2024. The investigating officers informed the court that a sum of approximately 4,026,884 rupees had been paid to the suspect as the Special Projects Director and a sum of approximately 1,933,065 rupees had been paid as the Private Secretary to retired President Gota Rajapaksa. The investigating officers added that 135 officials, including the suspect, had served in the relevant Special Projects Division. The investigating officers submitted to court that over 200 million rupees from the presidential budget had been spent to pay the salaries and allowances of all the relevant employees. The investigating officers further told court that no public service had been rendered by the relevant Special Projects Division and that it had only carried out political activities for the Sri Lanka Pudujana Peramuna. Since this act constitutes an offence under the Public Property Act, the investigating officers requested court to remand the suspect in custody. Attorney at Law Jeevantha Jayatilaka, appearing for the suspect, argued that the suspect was arrested maliciously. The attorney informed the court that although the suspect functioned as the private secretary to retired President Gota Rajapaksa, he had rejected the allowances for the said post in writing, and the relevant funds had been credited to a personal account of Gota Rajapaksa. Furthermore, the attorney stated that former President Ranil Wickremesinghe had appointed the suspect as a special projects director, and the salaries and allowances received in relation to that post were legally obtained by the suspect. Accordingly, attorney at law Jeevantha Jayatilaka requested the court to release the suspect on suitable bail conditions. Considering the facts, the magistrate ordered the investigating officers to record statements from the account holders to whose accounts the money was credited from government accounts and present them on a future date, and to also record statements from the officials who had issued the appointments to the suspect.
ආණ්ඩුවට ජනතාවට සහන දෙනවා. ඒකින්ද අපි හිරගෙට යනවා. ජනතාව සහන දෙනවා. අපි
Former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's former personal secretary Sugeshwara Bandara was arrested today while attending an event organised by the Joint Opposition. The programme organised by the People's Joint Opposition led by former Minister Professor G.L. Pires was also attended by Sri Lanka Freedom Party members Nima Siripala de Silva and Mahinda Amaravira, former Member of Parliament Premanath Sidolavatta and Samagijana Balavagia MP Dayasiri Jayasekara. Following the event, Samagijana Balavagia MP Dayasiri Jayasekara expressed his views on the arrest of Sugeshwara Bandara during a media briefing.
As we were leaving after this discussion today, Sugeshwara Bandara was arrested by officers from the Central Crimes Division. They blocked his vehicle, clearly having followed him continuously before intercepting him. The law in this country has now deteriorated to the point where people are dragged away on the main road as if they are terrorists. He has been taken away like a criminal despite being a political leader. This arrest has now turned into something that closely resembles the worst kind of abductions that we have seen in places like Russia.
රුසියාවේ තිබුණ ඉතාම නරක පන්නේ පහර ගැනීමක් හා සමාන කාරණයකට බවට දැන් පත් වෙලා තිබෙනවා.
Samagijana Balavagia MP Dayasiri Jayasekara, who expressed views on the arrest of former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's personal secretary Sugeshwara Bandara, had in recent days also participated in programs and meetings organised by the People's Joint Opposition. His participation in these meetings drew criticism today from within the Samagijana Balavagia itself.
Dayasiri contested the last election from our party in Kotagala. However, he is not a member of the Samagijana Balavagia. He is not a party member. At the time, no one from that so-called joint opposition could seek votes. That party is one that brought the country down. No one from that joint opposition had the opportunity to seek votes. I think the only person who did was Dayasiri. Even he was able to contest only because we, the Samagijana Balavagia, gave him the ticket. He contested under our banner and won. But he is not part of our party's decision-making bodies, nor is he in our executive committees. He is simply a member of parliament who entered through our party.
The hearing of the writ petition filed by former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa seeking an order preventing his arrest in connection with investigations into the Easter Sunday terror attacks commenced today before the Court of Appeal. The petition was taken up before a bench comprising Court of Appeal President Judge Yoshitha Surya and Judge Sarath Dissanayake.
During the proceedings, President's counsel Romesh De Silva, appearing for the petitioner Gotabaya Rajapaksa, informed court that the constitution recognizes judicial independence as well as personal liberty as fundamental rights. He stated that such liberty can only be restricted under very limited circumstances, and delivering justice to the victims of the Easter attacks does not mean arbitrarily arresting and imprisoning individuals without a reasonable basis. He also told court that his client had not been summoned for any investigation related to the Easter attacks and had not interfered with any witnesses connected to the inquiry. Against such a backdrop, the President's counsel alleged that the respondents had obtained a foreign travel ban against his client from the Colombo Fort Magistrates Court without any reasonable basis, thereby restricting his liberty through an unjustified investigation. He further stated if his client is arrested under the Prevention of Terrorism Act, he would be deprived of the opportunity to obtain bail, and it is for this reason that the petitioner has come before court. At this point, Judge Sarath Dissanayake raised a question, asking whether such legal provisions are used in situations where an investigation cannot be completed within 24 hours. Responding to this, the President's counsel stated that such laws cannot be used to deprive an individual of personal liberty. President's counsel De Silva also pointed out that the Presidential Commission of Inquiry, chaired by current Supreme Court Judge Janak De Silva and appointed to investigate the Easter Sunday attacks, had not made a single reference to the petitioner anywhere in the report. The President's counsel also stated that requests are being made to the Attorney General's Department to arrest various individuals in this manner, adding that the department itself has now been placed in a difficult position. At this stage, Deputy Solicitor General Suharshi Herath, appearing for the respondents, objected, stating that the learned President's counsel was attempting to portray the Attorney General's Department as a puppet and that such statements were being made purely for media purposes. Rejecting this allegation, the President's Counsel clarified that he had never accused the Attorney General personally, but maintained that the department had been placed in such a situation. The Court of Appeal subsequently fixed the 24th of June as the next date to continue hearing the petition.
The Podujana United Professionals commented on the alleged preparations to arrest former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa in connection with investigations into the Easter Sunday terror attacks.
They are going after Saleh in order to go after Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Why are they trying to go after Gotabaya Rajapaksa? Because once they target Gotabaya Rajapaksa, it will impact Mahinda Rajapaksa. And once Mahinda Rajapaksa is affected, it will then extend to Nama Rajapaksa. That is the equation. What is happening here is an attempt to hit multiple targets with one move. When they strike Gotabaya, the impact will ultimately fall on Mahinda Rajapaksa.
Former State Intelligence Chief Suresh Saleh, who remains in detention custody, is continuing to receive treatment at the Colombo National Hospital. Following a program held yesterday, his wife Manori shared her views regarding Saleh's health condition.
Suresh is still not eating or drinking. However, due to an infection caused by the cannula, the doctors had to remove it and are now taking every possible step to keep him alive. As a result, a nasal tube has been inserted through which he is being given a small amounts of fluids. Today marks the 12th day since he began fasting. Because of this, he is unable to sit for long periods, cannot speak properly and finds it difficult to breathe. He is experiencing several such discomforts and is extremely weak. At this moment, everyone shares the same hope that Suresh will be granted his freedom as soon as possible. We all know that he is innocent. In fact, he wasn't even in Sri Lanka at the time this incident occurred.
Health and Mass Media Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa stressed that if there are any issues with the investigation being conducted by the Criminal Investigation Department into detaining Suresh Saleh, they should be brought before the courts.
As far as I am aware, Suresh Saleh, who has been handed over to the Criminal Investigation Department under a detention order, has been treated in the same manner as any ordinary individual. No special procedure has been followed for him by the CID. Likewise, no person is being singled out for humiliation. I believe the established procedures are being followed. If anyone has an issue, they can inform the court, as all matters related to this will be examined there. If he is innocent, the best course of action is to cooperate with the investigation and reveal the facts. By assisting investigators and providing information, the courts will ultimately make a determination. No, there is absolutely no political revenge. If someone claims there is political revenge, they must clearly point out where the politics lies. For instance, if someone in custody is linked to planning an act such as a killing for political gain or to bring someone to power, then there is a political dimension. It is up to the investigators to uncover such facts. The People's Power Collective today expressed remarks regarding the arrest of Yoshitha Rajapaksa, the son of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption, and his subsequent release on bail after being produced before court.
The allegation against Yoshitha Rajapaksa, son of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, is that he was recruited as an executive officer in the Sri Lankan Navy by altering the required qualifications, and that government funds were misused to facilitate his training at the Royal Naval College in the United Kingdom. The qualifications required to apply for the executive branch of the Navy had also been changed to suit the recruitment of the suspect. It was revealed in court yesterday. It was further disclosed in court that Yoshitha Rajapaksa had undergone the necessary medical examinations to depart for training at the Royal Naval College in the United Kingdom, even before being officially recruited as a naval officer. In light of these revelations, Attorney-at-Law Manoj Gamake, media spokesperson for former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, expressed the following views yesterday regarding the arrest of Yoshitha Rajapaksa, the son of the former president.
As you know, Yoshitha Rajapaksa was enlisted to the Navy during the period where the war was still ongoing. He was recruited during that period especially with the intention of boosting morale related to the war effort. When the son of the president of the country joined the armed forces, it created a sense of confidence and trust among many people, reinforcing the parents to send their children to the armed forces with the belief that if the president's son is serving in the armed forces, then the mission would be credible and supported at the highest level. We know that this is not something unique to Sri Lanka. Similar practices exist in countries like the United Kingdom and other parts of the world, where children of heads of state join the military, serve for a period, undergo training and return. This is often done as a tradition or as a form of example-setting leadership. However, it is very unfortunate that what was once considered a symbolic and positive act has now been treated as an offence under the Bribery Commission's laws and regulations related to military recruitment.
Vidarshana Kanangara of the People's Power Collective responded to the remarks made by Attorney at Law Manoj Gamage.
The people's mandate has been used like a football by ruling family, manipulated in whatever way they see fit. We saw how Yoshitha Rajapaksa was pushed into that Royal Navy course in England. That did not happen without influence or behind the scenes pressure. They try to claim that such actions were taken to uplift the dignity, pride or morale of the war heroes. But individuals like Yoshitha Rajapaksa were not those who fought on the front lines or served in those war camps. What they did was not about boosting the morale of soldiers. Instead, they used the wartime situation to elevate their own family members and give them advantages, raising their sons to higher positions.
The United States and Iran have electronically signed a memorandum of understanding to extend their ceasefire and reopen the Strait of Hormuz.
Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghei says that the agreement had gone into effect. Onilka Amaratunga brings us more details. Onilka?
Yes, thank you, Joad and Chalani. Now, in the latest developments in the Middle East, US President Donald Trump told reporters that he had signed the memorandum with Iran at the Palace of Versailles near the French capital Paris. The White House later confirmed that Trump had signed the breakthrough agreement. Let's take a look.
Mr. President, please, just one question from French TV and the Arab deal. Just one question, please.
You signed the deal?
You signed the deal?
The MOU? It's signed, yeah. It's signed? You signed it in Versailles. You signed it.
The stories made in Versailles?
Since the 28th of February, the US and Israel have been jointly engaged in a war against Iran, though a temporary ceasefire suspended much of the most intense fighting on the 8th of April. This agreement extends the ceasefire for 60 days, with Iran gradually reopening the strait and the US lifting its blockade of Iranian ports. The agreement paves the way for further negotiations over Iran's nuclear program. In return, the US will move to waive some wide-ranging sanctions against Iran. Given that both sides signed the agreement electronically, Baghei noted that there would not be a signing ceremony on Friday in Geneva, Switzerland, as had previously been expected. Negotiating teams, however, still plan to be in the Swiss city. A decision on a possible in-person meeting between them is expected in the coming hours, though for now such plans are paused, according to Baghei. Video footage of the moment the US president physically signed the interim deal at the Versailles Palace showed him posing before putting pen to paper.
Good job. Great job.
What are the key points of the deal?
The United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran and their allies in the current war, by signing this MOU, declare the immediate and permanent termination of military operations on all fronts, including in Lebanon, and undertake from now on not to initiate any war on any military operation against each other, and to refrain from the threat or use of force against each other, and ensuring the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Lebanon. The final deal will confirm the permanent termination of the war on all fronts, including in Lebanon and other provisions of this paragraph. The United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran commit to negotiating and achieving the final deal in maximum 60 days extendable with mutual consent. Immediately upon the signing of this MOU, the United States of America will begin the removal of its naval blockade and any disturbances or impediments against the Islamic Republic of Iran and will fully end the naval blockade within 30 days. Upon the signing of this MOU, the Islamic Republic of Iran will make arrangements using its best efforts for the safe passage of commercial vessels with no charge for 60 days only from the Persian Gulf to the Sea of Oman and vice versa. The United States of America undertakes with regional partners to develop a definitive mutually agreed plan with at least $300 billion for the reconstruction and economic development of the Islamic Republic of Iran. The United States of America undertakes to terminate all types of sanctions against the Islamic Republic of Iran, including the United Nations Security Council resolutions, IAEA Board of Governors resolutions, and all unilateral U.S. sanctions, primary and secondary, in an agreed-upon schedule as part of the final deal. The Islamic Republic of Iran reaffirms that it shall not procure or develop nuclear weapons. The United States of America undertakes to make fully available for use the frozen or restricted funds and assets of the Islamic Republic of Iran upon the implementation of this MOU. The final deal will be endorsed by binding UNSC resolution. Iran has touted the agreement as a victory. Chief negotiator Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf told FARS, an Iranian state news agency, that the US had failed to achieve its goals with Iran and pointed to the memo as proof. Both sides, however, have emphasized that the Memorandum of Understanding is not a final settlement.
Now, the group of 7 leaders have agreed to strengthen coordination on critical mineral supply chains, including plans for joint stockpiling and a new cooperation platform with an expanded role for the International Energy Agency, amid growing concerns over China's dominance in global mineral supplies.
G7 leaders agreed on Wednesday to step up coordination to cut their country's reliance on China for critical minerals, including plans to align stockpiling and launch a new platform with an expanded role for the International Energy Agency. Western powers are racing to diversify supplies of metals vital to defense, technology and renewable energy and reduce dependence on China. Beijing rattled global markets last year when export curbs on permanent magnets disrupted industries, exposing their reliance on a single source. Without naming China, the leaders said they aim to reduce dependence on any one supplier outside the G7 and partner countries for rare earths and permanent magnets to below 60% by 2030, with an ultimate goal of 50% as soon as possible. The leaders said in a joint statement, quote, "We are committed to working towards establishing harmonized, interoperable mechanisms. This would start with 2 pilot critical minerals, lithium and nickel, and aim to avoid undermining competitiveness or imposing excessive cost burdens." End quote. The mechanisms would later expand to 5 new minerals each year with a focus on rare earth elements. China spooked the global economy in 2025 when some industries nearly ground to a halt after Beijing imposed export curbs on permanent magnets, laying bare the world's dependence on a single source.
Back to some local news. An open verdict has been delivered following the post-mortem examination conducted today into the death of a female physiotherapist whose body was discovered near the Teldenia hospital. Police stated that it has not yet been conclusively determined whether the death was a homicide or a suicide. Police further revealed that several stretch marks were observed on her neck.
The body of a 33-year-old woman was found yesterday inside a parked vehicle near the Teldenia hospital. She had been employed as a physiotherapist at the Ampara hospital, resigned from her position on the 11th, stating that she was planning to travel overseas. Investigations have also revealed that she had been staying at a guest house in Nuwara from the 3rd to the 16th of this month. Police stated that CCTV footage shows a man believed to be her boyfriend carrying her away on the night before her body was discovered. The suspect boyfriend is a software engineer residing in Gannor, Kandy. Police investigations have further revealed that the two had been planning to travel abroad together and that the deceased woman had obtained a bank loan and given approximately 15 million rupees to the suspect. 3 police teams are currently conducting investigations into the incident.
11 suspects arrested on charges of unlawful assembly and engaging in a clash in the Kotagala town have been remanded until the 22nd. Those arrested in connection with this incident were people who had been attending a wedding ceremony.
A clash broke out yesterday between 2 groups who were attending a wedding ceremony held in the Kotagala town. Police officers from the Dimulapatana police station attempted to bring the situation under control. However, those engaged in the clash also obstructed the duties of the police officers. Subsequently, additional police officers were deployed to the Kotagala town. The police arrested several suspects connected to the clash. Members of the general public also apprehended several other people who were acting in an unruly manner and obstructing the duties of the police and handed them over to the police. Due to this incident, vehicular traffic in Kotagala town was also disrupted. The 11 suspects arrested by the police in connection with this incident were produced before Hatton Magistrate Peter Paul today and were remanded until the 22nd of June. The suspects were arrested for offences including unlawful assembly, indecent behaviour in public under the influence of alcohol and causing a public nuisance.
Weather first.
The Met Department has issued an advisory for strong winds and rough seas for the sea areas extending from Mathura to Pothuil via Hambantota.
According to the department, the advisory will be valid until 1 p.m. tomorrow. Tinal Tilakaratna brings you the details.
Thank you, Jawad and Chalani. Now, according to the weather advisory issued by the Department of Meteorology, the sea areas of the coast extending from Mathura to Pothuil via Hambantota will be rough at times with strong gusty winds up to 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. Now, naval and fishing communities are requested to be vigilant in this regard. Meanwhile, according to the forecast published by the Met Department, several spells of showers will occur in the western, Sabaragamu and northwestern provinces, as well as in the Gaul, Mathura, Kandy and Noor area districts. Now, showers or thunder showers may occur at a few places in the Uva province as well as in the Ampara, Mullaitivu and Batticaloa districts after 2 p.m.
Weather first.
A discussion on the gendered crisis of unpaid care work was held in Colombo yesterday.
The discussion titled Care Work and Unpaid Care Work, Addressing Unpaid Care Work in Sri Lanka, organized by the South Asia Women in Media Sri Lanka in collaboration with the Women and Media Collective, aimed to shed light on the deeply gendered issue that is unpaid care work.
We feel that it is really important that media as well is informed and recognizes the issue of unpaid care work. When we say unpaid care work, it's all the work that's related for the well-being of the family. Most of the time, this work is carried out by women. It's unpaid. It's not recognized in the labor force because it is not considered to contribute to the national economy. And the reason is because women are tied down with unpaid care work. They do not have many options to find paid work. So we need to understand that even though it's recognized as unpaid care work, it has an economic value, and it also means that we recognize the amount of time that women, mostly women, put towards this work.
The program featured an in-depth session by Women and Media Collective on the fundamental definition of unpaid care work, as well as a way forward dialogue where media representatives and advocates mapped out strategies for better public policy integration.
A spectacular Russian cultural ballet concert featuring students of the Russian School of Ballet and Dancing is set to take place on the 27th of June at Nelumpukuna Mahinda Rajapaksa Theatre in Colombo. The cultural section of the Russian Embassy in Sri Lanka and the Maldives officially announced the event yesterday in Colombo.
Once upon a silver stage, the Russian classical ballet concert holds dual significance, celebrating two major milestones, the 25th anniversary of the Russian School of Ballet and Dancing and the 70th anniversary of diplomatic relations between the Russian Federation and Sri Lanka. The concert will feature performances from approximately 690 students of the Russian School of Ballet and Dancing.
The doors of our building are always open to people who admire and respect Russian culture, and as we all know, the classical ballet is always associated with my country, with the Russian Federation, with the Royal Russia. A lot of grandmasters of ballet came from my country. They taught all over the world, they performed all over the world, and the Russian House is very, very proud to have a beautiful ballet school which is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. I think it's very big, it's very grand. I know that it only started with 4 girls, and now we have a lot. We have over 700 girls, if I'm not mistaken. That's a huge success. I'm very proud about the school. I'm very proud of our teachers, the wonderful Galina Pleshakova, the real Russian ballerina, by the way, who founded this school 25 years back. I know that maybe in Sri Lanka, since there are no higher educational institutions that teach ballet, it's not very easy to develop the true art of ballet. But on the other hand, my heart is overfilled with gratitude that I can see so many girls of different ages coming and sharing this beauty, because it's about culture, it's about grace, it's about beauty, the true beauty of Russia, of my country. And this celebration that we're having at the Nelumpukuna Theatre on the 27th of June.
The concert will see the participation of the Russian ambassador to Sri Lanka and the Maldives, Levan Esagarian, and Minister of Buddha Sasana, Religious and Cultural Affairs, Dr. Hinduma Sunil Senevi as chief guests.
The global sports arena is absolutely electric right now as Football World Cup fever takes over the world.
We once again cross over to Tina Tilakaratna for the details.
Thank you guys. Now, Congo participated in a Football World Cup match for the first time in 52 years. The Congolese team also managed to hold formidable Portugal to a draw in their opening match.